Okay, Cody, podcast. What are we doing? What is this thing?
Man, okay. So when people ask me what we're doing, I tell them we are talking about how it's okay to be a Christian and not believe everything and still come to church. It's okay, I guess, to put it in church terms, it's okay to have a developing testimony. You still fit in with the congregation no matter where your testimony is. And so there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of, our own perspective on church topics and just, I don't know, have a good time and talk about what we always talk about when we get together. Somehow church comes up.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, how did this idea of a podcast come about? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I think after sitting in ward council together for years and making the ward council laugh, we thought, hey, maybe if we recorded ourselves talking, maybe that would be fun. No, it was when you remember when COVID first started and we're doing the Facebook videos
That's
and
right.
people seem to enjoy those for whatever reason.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, we could do a podcast.
So at one point we were going to call this podcast The One. Do you
Yes.
remember that? And do you remember why we were thinking about calling it The One and what did that mean?
No, I don't remember at all.
You don't?
No.
Well, dang it.
I'm sorry. Do you want to feed me a line real quick?
Nope.
Jot my memory.
Well, it was about part of the, part of this podcast for me is really seeking after the one.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Now I remember.
Fix this post.
Yeah, we're going to have to. No, yeah. So the one, we know that in every congregation, there's that one member that feels like, because I struggle with this, I'm the only one in the world that struggles with this, and therefore I'm all alone. And you're not. We are all human. We all have different trials, different struggles. And if you struggle with it, there's probably millions of other people that go through exactly that exact same struggle, and that's okay. And so I think talking about it and kind of putting it out there lets people know, it's okay to be human. We are here on this earth to learn to be better, and the learning is a process.
So, have you thought about the thing that kind of makes me nervous is the line that we kind of have to walk between having open conversations about being critical of church culture
Sure.
and not cross the line to be critical of the church.
Sure.
Have you thought about that?
I have.
And how do you think that somehow we can navigate that?
Well, I think to kind of just put this out here, I'm going to use very exact terminology when I speak. If I ever refer to it as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I'm absolutely talking about the church. If I ever use the word Mormon, or probably just Mormon, I'm talking about the culture, because it's undeniable to say that our church does not have a culture. And so what we're talking about is nothing to say that we don't believe in the teachings of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or we don't have a testimony of the restoration of the gospel, because we have both of those things. What we are going to be talking about is just some of the funeral potato type things in the church that everyone knows they exist, but we don't really talk about them much.
We kind of jokingly had this idea of referring to this thing as like punk rock.
Yes.
LVS Talk.
Yes, absolutely.
Which I think to you and we understand what that means, but how would you explain it to, because this is not going to be necessarily a like come follow me or scripture study.
No.
Of LDS topics. This is more about kind of not necessarily the fringe type things or the fringe people, but it is a little more, we're going to have some fun.
Absolutely. Well, I think, first of all, we chose to say punk rock because we're both rapidly approaching 40 and we're grasping at anything that will make us feel a little bit younger.
Right.
So, it's very cool to be punk rock. But as far as that goes, it's just like I said, we're going to talk about the things that don't really get talked about, but we all know they exist. And we're not going to talk about anything naughty, but
We might.
oh, we might, never mind. We're just going to cover the things that everyone knows are there, but no one wants to touch on.
I know you got some feedback from like your family and
Sure.
stuff. I guess what kind of feedback have you had? Not necessarily on what we've done yet, which isn't a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I guess the concept of what we're doing.
For me, it's all been positive. People, I had one member of my family who will keep anonymous, but they sent me a really long text message. And before I read it, I was really scared because I was like, oh my gosh, you just text me a novel and great. What did you think about this podcast? And all they said is how much they loved it because they drank a Dr. Pepper that day and accidentally said a swear when they stubbed their toe, and how they felt bad because, oh, I just sinned. And I mean, we're not trying to justify anybody in their sins, but I think it's okay to mess up. That's, you know what, you're going to mess up. And we want to kind of engage in that a little bit, engage that topic.
What we get excited about talking about this project.
Yeah.
What things are you excited about, or what most excites you about it, I guess?
So I think for myself, the most exciting part of this is that desire to continue to be a missionary. Well, I'm assuming a lot here. I'm going to say I love watching people develop. And I love knowing that because of something I did or something I said that I could have potentially inspired someone to be better. So for me, that's absolutely what excites me the most. What scares me the most is that people might actually listen.
I was going to say, what the heck qualifies us? When you listen to a podcast, you assume that the people on the podcast are somehow experts or really smart in this field of topic or theme of the podcast. And I struggle with that of what makes Cody and I, what are we doing? Like what makes us eligible to have a podcast?
I mean, honestly, nothing.
Exactly.
Let's get real, nothing. And I've had that thought, last week I was like, it was when I was talking to you, like I need to pull my own weight. I was like, honestly, anyone could sit down with Jared and Jared would make it great. Like you don't need Cody in here to make this thing work. But so yeah, we're not qualified. But I think we each have a testimony and we have a unique opinion like everyone else that walks on this planet. And I guess we're hoping that people like our unique opinion.
How do you smell so nice all the
time? You can actually thank my beautiful wife. She's sitting over here. She's off camera, but she knows that I love cologne and she goes out and for Christmas buys me cologne to, keep me smelling sexy. Can I say that on the air?
We'll have to bleep that.
Okay.
What should people know about Cody? So if people are like, yeah, I get the podcast, the guys are cool, whatever, but what's Cody about? If you had to say three things, if someone asks, what are you all about? Three things.
Three things that I'm all about.
Can't be the Seahawks.
Is Russell Wilson an acceptable answer?
Sure.
No. I am a very loyal person. I've always valued loyalty. I'm a very honest person. I don't like fibbers. And I'm also a pretty weird guy. You know what? I did 2 positives and 1 negative. I'm a very weird individual, and I'm okay with that.